from Crystal Sews and Stuff, and today I'm interviewing Ms. Blondell Howard, owner of the Sassy Sewer here in Parkville, Maryland. Hi, Blondell.
Hi, Crystal. How are you?
I'm great. I just have a couple questions for you today.
Okay.
So, when did you start sewing?
I started sewing when I was 22. I had always wanted to learn to sew, but my mom, who sewed, never had the opportunity to teach me because my father, and my brothers were high maintenance. So I decided that I was going to teach myself. And so long before YouTube and all of the things that you see on social media now, I taught myself to sew from reading Threads magazine.
All right. So, did you ever acquire any formal training along the way?
Yes. Actually, when I taught myself to sew, I wanted to validate that the things that I was teaching myself was the correct way to sew. So I enrolled in Baltimore City Community College's fashion design program, where I took sewing lessons there in pattern making, garment construction, draping, fashion illustration, and I learned a ton of stuff there.
All right. And so when did you start teaching sewing?
I started teaching sewing in the 90s. Again, I was thirsty for more knowledge about garment construction, so I took a job at Jo-Ann Fabrics, inside of Jo-Ann Fabrics, working for Viking sewing machines, where I sold sergers and sewing machines, and I also taught people how to use their sewing machine. It was one of the classes that came free when you purchased a sewing machine.
Okay. So, when did you decide to start a sewing school?
Oh, that's a good question. So I started the Sassy Sewer in 2007 after being laid off of my accounting job at a bank. We went through a merger, and of course my job was redundant, so my job was eliminated because they moved all the operations to Pittsburgh, and I wasn't going to Pittsburgh. So I decided that I wanted to teach garment construction classes the right way. I taught garment construction at Jo-Ann Fabrics, but it was, in my opinion, it wasn't set up for the students to learn to sew. So I went in and I took my money from my 401k and I invested in Sassy Sewer.
Okay. So why did you name it the Sassy Sewer?
Oh, that's a funny story. Because my father used to always say that I was sassy.
Okay.
So I said, I couldn't think of a better name. I said, I'll call myself the Sassy Sewer.
Okay. I love it.
It fits me, as you know.
What is your teaching method that you use here at the sewing school?
Okay, so one of the things that I did learn from teaching at Jo-Ann Fabrics and at the college is that people learn differently. Some people learn faster than others, so on and so forth. So what I did was I took the program that's called You Can Make It, which I had been teaching for years, long before I started the Sassy Sewer, and I used that as a spin-off in my sewing school because it was comprehensive and it taught people the correct order of sewing, and they could also do it at their own pace. I understood that people have families, kids, and other obligations, and they can't always do the homework like we did when the kids were at the college. So this was at your own pace, and my students would come back and they would move through the levels at their own pace.
Okay. How long did you teach at the college?
I taught at the college for about a year and a half.
Baltimore City.
Baltimore City Community College.
Okay. What is your favorite thing to sew?
I would say prom dresses for my nieces.
Okay.
It's probably my favorite thing to sew.
Okay. Have you done bridal gowns as well?
Yes, I've done a wedding gown before, mostly prom dresses for my nieces. But my passion really is teaching people to sew, empowering people in sewing. I probably get more excited than my students when they get a concept, and you would think that I did it.
Where have some of your students gone after leaving, finishing the levels?
Okay, so I've had students who've gone on to do their own fashion design, specifically business, specifically Yatunde Sarume. She has a online boutique of African-inspired garments that she sells nationwide, and I think she's also selling them across the world as well.
Okay.
I've had others who've gone on to sew things for their sororities. I have another student who went on to do her own sewing business as well. Most of my students really sew for their own personal enjoyment.
And what's the proudest thing you've ever sewn?
I would say my niece's prom dresses.
Okay. Do you have any advice for new sewers?
My advice for new sewers is I would go, and for me, I think they should learn the basics. The first thing they have to learn is how to use the sewing machine. Once they're done there, take classes in whether it's garment construction, home decorating, quilting, whatever it is what you want to do. Lots of reading. YouTube has helped a lot, though sometimes I feel there's a little bit of misinformation there. And just doing it.
Okay. How would you suggest new sewers find live sewing classes, like throughout the country?
Oh, okay. Well, the sewing program that I use, which is called You Can Make It, and the kids program that I use is called Kids Can Sew and Fashion Design. If you go to any of those websites, you will find links to teachers who may be in your area. And I've gone through other programs, and I've mastered this. I think it's the best programs for the kids and the adults learning to sew at a, I would say, at a pace that's in the right order, is really what I wanted to say.
Okay. What about, do you have any resources that new sewers can use? Any books you would recommend?
Yes. In terms of fitting, I am a fan of all the Palmer Pletch fitting series and her patterns, because she teaches you, as you know, and I teach the students here, how to do the fittings on their body. We tissue fit, and then we go in and we do a muslin, and I've had great results, and the students have been pretty pleased with that as well. Other sources, Reader's Digest Guide to Sewing has been an excellent book. There's another book out, a basic book by Allison Smith, that's great. A great resource for sewing, and Vogue Fabrics is as well.
Okay. Is there anything else would you would like to tell our audience today?
Let's see. I know a lot of people will, I want to learn to sew, I want to learn to sew. Just do it. Get started. I can promise you, you will not regret it. It is the best thing that I have ever learned to do, and I've gone to college. I love it.
And I'm her favorite student, of course.
She is.
All right, thank you so much. You
and the
too.
camera person is as well.
And now I'll leave links to everything we mentioned in the description box. So please subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.